If you haven't subscribed yet, what the Hales are you waiting for? Make sure you hit that bell icon as well. It's probably down there, or maybe down there. And then once you hit that bell, make sure you hit all on your notifications so you'll always know when we upload a new video and when we go live. And that's a daily thing on What the Hales. Today, we've got a really cool thing going on. We got a good friend coming in to take a look at all of the train items that we found at a $170 unit, and he's going to help us put a value on those items. Should be exciting to see how much money we could potentially make. This is my good friend who's known my family for how long, Ken?
Many years.
Many years.
At least 30, if not longer.
If not longer. So, Ken, you saw what in one of the videos that piqued your interest?
A lot of train stuff.
Okay, we do see train stuff here. And you just so happen to be a train enthusiast, right?
Correct.
I'm guessing that you still play with your trains.
Yes, I do.
All right. And Ken reached out and said, "Hey, Jeremy, can I come take a look at everything?" And he's got some real goodies here. Ken, is there anything in this boxes of trains from this $170 unit that sticks out more than anything else?
This book is one.
Oh, but we're not going to get to that book yet, are we?
No, we're not. That is, you'll find out the goodie on that later.
All right, so he's got a big old goodie pile there. What else do you have in front of you that you can share with us?
Well, I've got some, I believe these are dealer sample wheels that they would use to go out to different companies, locomotive companies that are building things, and show them samples of what they can make for them. Also, these could also be wheels for scaled down models. One reason is this one has a keyway slot in the middle to hold the wheel onto the axle.
Yeah. And this one doesn't have the key slot, does it?
No, it doesn't.
So that's why you would say maybe salesman sample.
Well, this could still work as a model wheel, because your pulling power is your locomotive, so you're going to have a keyway slot to keep the wheels from slipping on the axles. So these you could just pound onto the axle and go as is without a slot.
So on our little train model here, they would see this.
This would be like in the front.
Right there.
And this would be the drive wheel.
In the back.
This is a box full of different books. He's got a whole complete set. Volume 1, 2, 3, and 4. These are railroad photo albums. You look inside, it'll give you the railroad, the type of engine.
That's so beautiful. Look at that.
A lot of these where you don't see any background, a lot of them are what they call builder's photos. What the builder will take a photo just after it comes out of the shop from being built, and they'll white out the background.
So in other words, that would be for us modern day Photoshop. Back then,
correct.
They who knows how they did it, but they did it.
Dodge and burn back then, probably.
Yeah.
You'll also notice steam engines on builder photos. The drive rods are always down. That's so it will show more up in here in the engine. So those of you that are photographers and follow steam engines around nowadays that are running and stuff, if you ever want to get a picture to sell to other railroaders, they'll always want the side rods down in their picture. That's just that little collection. We've got a lot of model railroader books. These, a lot of guys, especially the old ones, the 1955s, it's fun to go through and just see the prices of what stuff cost back then.
Yeah, the old ads and the old advertising.
Ads, and, you know, you could get a whole train set for $45, where nowadays it probably cost you $150. But they have a lot of ideas. They have schematics in here where you could, you know, learn to build your own. They've got the actual measurements on height and everything. So,
is this where a lot
layouts.
of the modelers get their ideas for
Yeah.
the layouts then,
Yeah.
from these magazines?
So he's got a lot of them in here. A lot of these, the older ones would probably go for like $1 maybe. The newer ones, they go anywhere from 25 to 50. So I know a lot of people, they try to collect the whole years, and sometimes they might be missing one magazine out of that year, and they'll go to trade shows and try to dig these up and find the one that they need. So,
And it's just fun picking, looking for them too.
Yeah, so
yeah.
a quarter to $1 for a magazine, you know, when normally these sell for about 10 or 12 bucks right off the rack. So a lot of good old ones are these old railroads. They got good stories. These are from back in early 50s. They all have neat stories in them, ads for other books,
Schematics, yeah. So the die-hard collectors, they'd want to get their hands on this.
Right.
But it's not the most expensive collectability, but it's still for the diehards.
Yeah.
They want it.
So those are kind of neat. They also had some real old model railroading books that these are back then these were Lionel type situations, so the track plans and stuff that are in here, if I can find one real quick, like that, is all Lionel track.
Oh yeah.
And they show you how to wire it and everything. So gives you ideas on how to build buildings, what to use, different things.
So if you had to give a rough estimate just on this box of the value in this box, which is magazines and paper, rough estimate, we're not holding you to it. If you're, in your professional opinion, how much do you think that box would be?
You're probably looking at least $50 to $60.
We'll go low end, $50. Remember, we spent $170 on the unit, but I think things get a little bit more interesting as we go into the other boxes.
Yep.
Box number 2, Ken, you ready?
Ready.
All
Let's
right.
do it.
What we got?
Right here we got a lot of odds and ends. They're old buildings that have probably seen many years of wear and tear because some of them are broke. They're not necessarily done for. They can be taken apart, parts used to make other buildings. So
Yeah.
it's what they in the model railroading industry we call scratch building. They take bits and pieces of other buildings and put them together and make whatever they want. Especially if a person is looking to build a certain, like if they're trying to model a certain town or whatever,
Yeah.
and they don't have that building in a kit form, they'll make it themselves. They'll find the pieces that they need.
So basically, it's a we will build to suit set.
Right. So yeah, this is basically a lot of stuff that's just it's been handled rough, and like I say, parts can be taken out of it and used to build. Fence, you can always use fence around buildings and stuff. You know, it doesn't necessarily have to be around this building. It could be around anything. It
Yeah.
could be around a barn or something.
Yeah.
But out of this whole box, I did find 2 good ones.
There's a couple gems.
This is a farmer's market. It's got all the fruits and vegetables and everything in there, and sacks of potatoes and whatever, cash register, you name it.
All that detail. It's just incredible.
And the only bad thing that I saw was right here where it was glued wrong, which that can easily be taken apart and repositioned and re-glued. And that would be a good little farmer's market on the side of the road someplace on your layout.
That's a beautiful piece.
This piece here
This one was one of my favorites when we found it.
would be like a track gang office where they would keep all their tools and stuff. There are some things broken off. The smoke jacks are broken off, which you can find just about anything to do that. Not sure what this might have been. It could have been a light or something hanging there. But everything else is pretty much there. You know, all their tools, equipment, stuff that they would need to go out and repair the track.
Okay, so out of this box here, with all the parts and the pieces and the couple good ones, what would you put a value on that box? Box number 2.
15 as a high. I mean, you will probably get, I would think $5 out of the 2 good ones that I saw.
Okay.
Piece. And then the rest of it, is, like I said, is more scratch building type stuff.
So let's just say $10 out of that box, which would put us at a total of 60 out of the 170 that we spent.
Right.
Box number 3.
Let's do it.
All right, it's looking a whole lot more interesting
All right.
here.
This is all HO scale stuff.
What does HO stand for?
1/87th scale.
Okay, so
All
that's
right.
just another way to say it.
Right. In this box, it's mostly track. A lot of the track is brass, which is this. And there are some nickel silver. Now, most people like the nickel silver because it's easier to clean, easier to keep clean than the brass is. The brass collects dirt very quickly. It's hard to keep it clean. But a lot of the older gentlemen, whatever, that have layouts and stuff, if they started with brass, they want to stick with brass when they have to repair something or whatever. So this would be good for them if they wanted to repair.
So they would be the purist.
Right.
If they got brass, they want brass, even though it's more difficult to clean it.
Correct. But if you're looking to start into the hobby, you want to go with the nickel silver because it's easier to keep clean. And a lot of guys, like I was telling Jeremy, a lot of guys, they'll have a track cleaning car that they'll put somewhere in the middle of their train. So once they do the initial cleaning all the way around, they'll run cleaner cars in amongst their trains to keep it clean as they're running. That way they don't have dead spots.
I need to get one of those for my house. A cleaner car?
A cleaner car,
yeah.
There you go. Now, as far as transformers, I've got 3 different ones here. One's Lifelike, one's Tyco. This is Tech 2. This is the MRC. These are really good transformers on just about any scale. They'll work for Lionel, they'll work for HO, they'll work for N-scale, and they're really a good, reliable throttle. These other 2, they would work for running the trains and stuff, but a lot of the guys, what they'll do is they'll take them, and if they have lights in their buildings, or if they want to power up accessories like crossing signals and stuff like that, a lot of guys, they'll use these just to run lights and accessories and stuff off of, and leave the bigger throttle for your trains.
Yeah.
So
So out of this box, if you had to put a value on it.
yeah,
we're not done with the box yet, are we?
Yeah, we got a couple cars here
you found some other stuff
that are interesting. I mean, one's a Roco and this one's a Bachmann. These are pretty nice. A lot of guys, they'll like to change the couplers. This one's got the old style coupler on it, and they like to change them out. This one was actually an automated one. The automation part's not working right. That would automate the thing, but this is what happens is that door would open and this guy would come out. So you have cars that'll do that. Some are just plain. You know, they're missing pieces here and there. The other thing that we found in here was an old locomotive, which I told Jeremy it's a parts locomotive because there's a lot of parts missing,
yeah,
and still a lot of parts that can be used. One way of testing locomotives, and I showed him, is take a little 9-volt battery and you put the terminals on the wheels. If the wheels move, you know it would run. If they don't move, in this case, but we still heard the motor running, sounds like it has gear problems. So, but it's missing the wheels on the front truck, and the trailing truck is missing This, I have one of these engines myself. It's supposed to have a red roof on it. The tender's also missing. I didn't find it, but this would be good for someone if they needed parts for their locomotive. You know, that would work. It's got the handrails and everything, so that would be a nice parts vehicle.
All right, how much value on this box?
Like I say, brass would only be with the purest. It would probably be less in cost compared to a nickel silver. So within this box, just with the transformers, the track, we're looking maybe 50.
All right, that would put us at 110 out of the 170 that we spent. That's not too bad.
No, it's not. This is the Lionel, the O-27. This has got some good stuff in it. It's got track that definitely needs clean because it's rusty, but it would still work if someone wanted to use it.
So what they would do is they would just run sandpaper over that.
Yeah,
right?
they would have to just buff it up, clean it up.
Yep.
Some would leave the stuff on the side because normally if you go down the tracks and look at a railroad, a lot of the sides are dirty and everything anyway.
Yeah.
So that would they wouldn't have to weather it like a lot of people do.
It gives you the natural look and feel.
There you go. This was the big thing that was in the box. Nice 442, what they call it. That's the tire configuration.
Over there.
I looked this up in the book. In excellent condition, it's like $100, $150. In the good condition, it was like $75. This, we did test it. The motor hummed. It just, the tires barely moved, so it probably just needs taken apart. Good lube job on it, and it'd be a nice engine. The whistle that they put in this looks like a makeshift one that they put in. I'm not sure. I couldn't get it to blow, so someone would probably have to take it apart, see what they could do to get that to work. So this alone at 75 in good condition would probably go for at least 50, I would think.
So 50 just for that, what's in your hands?
Just for this, what's in my hand.
That would put us at $160 out of the 170, and we're not even in the rest of the box yet.
Right, and we have some cars here. Some of them are missing some wheels. I mean, if they've got extra wheels and stuff, they can get them. Something I showed Jeremy on when you look a lot of these cars up, they have the same numbers. Actually, the numbers are on the bottom. This is a 9010. This one's 6462. A lot of times you'll look those numbers up. You also had pre-war, post-war, modern era. So when you start looking at them, the books will give you the dates of when it was made. Well, on the newer cars, I'm not sure about the older cars, but it's the newer cars, they have built one of 75. This was built one of 73. And normally you would think that was just, you know, back in the day they would always put the years that they built them. Well, this would be the actual year that they built these cars. So when you go into your book, if it's saying 50 to 55 or whatever, you know you're in the wrong category. You need to go to the one that's in the 70s, and that would give you your price then on what they would be worth. But this box, it's got switches in it. It's got 290-degree crossings. For what's in here, maybe 80 bucks.
We're at a profit margin. We're definitely at a profit margin. So we are at 150, or no, we are at 160, right? So now we've got $240 out of the 170 that we spent, and we still have another box to go through.
This box was mostly all books and train articles from newspapers, from clubs and stuff that he was in.
Yeah.
But this one envelope that was in here had all these different railroad books. Nothing but beautiful pictures.
Wow.
Of the engines, their locomotives and stuff. Some of the right-of-way.
Definitely captured some beautiful history.
Yeah,
there.
that's Erie. You've got Southern Railroads. You've got circus trains. Anybody into circus trains? Now that Barnum and Bailey gave up their circus trains, this would definitely be a collector's item. I know I have a friend that's really into circus trains, but I have no idea how to get a hold of him, but he would definitely be buying this up. This looks like a fold-out.
Oh yeah, it's a fold-out, centerfold. Wow.
Whole circus area and the train coming in to unload.
That is something else.
But these are some beautiful books. Santa Fe, a couple on the Pennsylvania, one on Colorado. So these are pretty nice books to have. That was one thing that was in here. They also have a couple of hardbound books, American Locomotives, American in Transition. This would be right about the time they went from steam into early diesel. This one's from 1900 to 1950. Really nice books.
Ken has a raccoon climbing out right behind him. See, Ken, he just dropped.
Come on over. The other thing is this guy was a photographer. Either that or he just found someone to take pictures for him.
And did
beautiful
pictures.
But these are just, it's like he waited at train stations or freight yards just to get pictures of trains and stuff.
I was just amazed when we found these albums.
These are just, they're beautiful. And look, he even took the picture with the rods down.
He knew what he was doing.
But just picture after picture.
And album after album as well.
Album after album.
So it's not just one album. You see Ken here has, oh, he's got one open right here.
This was another one. A lot of times these are builder photos, which these probably were. Only this one, when I took it out, it tells about the locomotive, the weight and everything, but when you flip it over, it's a postcard.
It's a postcard.
Where most, I think someone took this. This was from a studio, I believe.
Yeah.
But most builder photography, you'll have the picture on the front, then on the back you'll have all the statistics on how much it weighed, the wheels, how high how tall the wheels and stuff were, capacities as far as the coal and water, and how much they would pull. But just some nice pictures and stuff in these books.
So if you were to put a value on that box, minus your secret stash that we're going to go through next, value on this box, what would you be thinking? It's just an estimate. We're not holding him to any numbers. We are at the 240 so far on 4 boxes. And that's out of the 170 that we spent on the unit.
And this, what you saw here, was just a fraction of what's in the box.
Just a fraction, yeah.
I would give this box a good $100, if not more.
All right, I like the sound of that. So we are now at $340, and we only spent $170 on the entire unit, and we haven't even gone through Ken's secret stash. Look, there's George snacking. Baby, you ain't a snack, you're a full meal. So out of all of the boxes, Ken took some of the things that he liked most right here. All right, you gonna tell us why?
I like trains.
Okay.
And these piqued my interest. All right, this was one. This Active Power is 2 different years. It just has different. Actually, if you look here, it's got a thumb index. So you go to the first page, it's all New York Central engines. The next one is Union Pacific engines. You know, and then Chesapeake and Ohio, all the way on down, all the different railroads, given the different examples. Like this last page has several railroads on it.
Wow.
And it's the same way. It's the same way in the second book. You can go down and just each railroad or each culmination. This is Pennsylvania and nickel plate. And this has got about 6 or 7 railroads.
Have you ever seen a manual or a pamphlet like this before?
Not like this, no.
First time.
This is a first for me.
And you've been collecting how long?
Too long, my wife says. I think I got my first train back in 1972, so I've been collecting ever since.
Wow.
This is some other stuff. This piqued my interest because it's got the Burlington route. I'm a Burlington fan, so it's got a lot of the passenger trains from Burlington in there. A couple from the other ones, Illinois Central. So that was another thing. This one I liked. It's Night Trick. This was Winston Link. If any of you know that photographer, he was probably the best nighttime photographer and daytime. He also took daytime pictures, but he worked specifically with Norfolk and Western and did a lot of a lot of night photography. And to do this, I don't think there's a picture in here of how he did it, but he would use banks and banks of flash bulbs and stuff in order to get this.
Wow. Absolutely gorgeous pictures. Look at the train, right, going over the bridge that the kids and family are playing. Wow. So that's definitely unique.
This one I like particularly because on my layout, I actually have a working drive-in theater on my layout.
What?
I have a miniature TV in there, and I show Three Stooges flicks.
Are you serious?
Yes, I do. So
wow.
This kind of piqued my interest when he did this one.
You train collectors are die hard.
Yes, we are. All the way. This book is similar to those other books that was in that box that we just showed you. This is the North or the Midwest region. Some that would have been traveling around close to this area, Ohio and that. This one's Baltimore and Ohio. I like Baltimore and Ohio because I lived like a block and away from a track, and I would always listen to that train at night.
Really?
Blowing its horn and hearing the clickety-clack as he went by. But some nice pictures.
Yeah, it's just beautiful. The history that's held here is just incredible.
And this one is just modern steam locomotives, just pictures from different railroads, the builders. This would be the builder information. So you would have a picture like this, and this builder information would be on the back side of it. Similar to, if I can find it real quick, similar to this one.
The Norfolk and Western.
And when you flip it over, it's got all the stats, the boiler, the firebox, the tubes, everything, driving wheels, everything on it.
Wow. Now, have you seen booklets like this before at
Not
any
like
of the
this.
swap meets?
No, these.
And you go to all these train swap meets and the whole deal.
I go
All
to a
of
lot
them.
of them, yeah. And I have not seen anything like these. These are just beautiful. And then I picked out a couple of hardback books. This one, like I was telling Jeremy before, a lot of guys will take pictures of engines and try to build, or cars and try to build them, where this book was actually set up. It's got the schematic, it's got all the measurements, so all you'd have to do is take that measurement and scale it down to whatever scale that you're working in, and then be able to put something like that together.
That is just wild. So cool.
And this is just basically Railroads of America. It's got, in fact, it's even broken up into different railroads. Wabash, Canadian Pacific, Florida East Coast, just the different railroads. Southern Pacific. This is Northern Pacific. So if you go to the front, there's all the railroads that are, different railroads that are mentioned in this book.
Wow.
Which is really neat.
Wow.
This was just a Popular Mechanics. They come out with everything, and they would do certain books of theirs where it's specific to one thing. So this one was just all trains. It's almost any railroad you could think of in here, and what the equipment looked like and everything.
These are all your favorites that you found in all of these boxes.
These are my favorites that I found.
These are the gems, the diamonds.
Well, I wouldn't say they're the diamonds. There's some other stuff in there that are diamonds.
All right, and we're gonna get to those diamonds. We are gonna get to those diamonds.
I was interested in because I have a grandson now that's 1 year old. So later on, when he gets a little bigger, I'm gonna help him put this railroad puzzle together. It's supposed to be 9 foot long, according to the box.
9 foot long.
9 foot long. So,
railroad puzzle.
So I'm kind of excited about that.
Wow.
Get that home and get it put together.
Wow.
And some of the other little stuff. Well, I showed you that. These are timetables that people collect. Here's some more builder photos. This here, we found a few of these. I decided I might talk Jeremy out of one of them. This is the old school modeling here. What you would do, they gave you two sides, and then you would take this, cut it in half to make end pieces, like that. And what you would do is you'd mount this on a piece of wood, order your wheels and all your brake gear and all that other stuff, and you would add that later, and then you would have your model train car.
That was your actual car.
That would be your actual car. And that's the way they did it back in the day.
Wow. How old do you think that is?
This has got to be back in 20s, 30s maybe.
Wow. So we could be looking at, this potentially could be 100 years old, potentially.
Potentially.
If it was 20s, or coming up, somewhere in the near future, coming up on its 100th anniversary.
Well, I know I found one that said 35 cents on it. This one says 40 cents on it.
Originally 40 cents.
So back then it was cheaper for them to build a car out of this. I mean, wood was probably prevalent and they could find it anywhere.
Yep.
And they would then use their main money to buy their engine to
Yep.
pull it
Yeah, for sure.
and their track. So well, that's about it on my goodies.
Did we have a big money item?
You did have a big money item.
We better see where that big money item is. Is it hiding?
Oh. Well, here.
Oh,
I
he found it.
It's hiding.
It was back there.
This was the sneak peek that you got at the beginning. This is a punch-out, 7-foot long model train made out of the cardboard. It's the engine. That's the tender. We've got a gondola car, refrigerator car, a coal car,
It just keeps going and going, doesn't it?
a flat car, cattle car, auto car. Now a lot of you guys thinking, what do you mean auto car? This is what they used, like box cars, to haul automobiles in back in the day.
Yeah.
They didn't use the auto racks like they've got now. You've got a tank car and the caboose. Now, reason why this is the gym, I looked this up on Google. There is a bookstore selling one of these for the grand total of $375. So that puts Jeremy way
ahead. Way ahead. Absolutely incredible. Thank you so much, Ken.
I told him he could keep this. I didn't want to take that money away from him. So. Otherwise, I would be taking it home with me.